a lot of the conversation is centered around the Chicago Bears pass rush. A couple of episodes ago, I briefly touched on why I think that the run defense is something that needs to improve more drastically than I'm worried about the pass rush. On today's episode, we're going to do a deeper dive into why the Bears' biggest defensive problem isn't necessarily its pass rush, it's its inability to stop the run. We're going to talk a little bit about that, why that's so important for this defense to make the next step next season, and we'll talk about the players that also need to take a big part into getting us to make that leap. We're going to talk about all that plus more right after this. What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm your host here, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go and get into this content for today, y'all. And I want to talk about this, right? The bigger problem for the Bears defense is not just the pass rush. Now, make no mistake about it. I want to be clear. The pass rush absolutely needs to improve in 2026. There is no doubt about that you have to improve as a pass rush team. But in a lot of ways, and one of the things that we've talked about a lot this offseason is how the Bears are a more consistent defense. And one of the things of being more consistent defense, I think, going into that, it's no doubt that the pass rush still matters. The Bears had 35 sacks last year. They ranked in the low 20s in sacks. They had 84 QB hits and only 66 tackles for a loss, which is all towards the bottom of the league. And it's just not good enough. But the Bears Bears run defense was a more dangerous flaw because it attacked the structure of the entire defense. The Chicago Bears allowed 2,165 yards, 5 yards per carry, the fourth highest yards per carry mark in the NFL, and gave up too many explosive runs as well. 13 runs of 20-plus yards and 4 more runs of 40-plus yards. The Bears need more pass rush to become elite, but they need a better run defense to avoid being exposed, is the way that I look at it, right? And I'm going to lay it out here. Why is the run defense a bigger need? Number one, bad run defense makes pass rush almost irrelevant. You can have Montez Sweat, Austin Booker, stunts, simulated pressure, blitz packages. None of it matters if teams are consistently living on 2 and 4 and 3rd and 2. It does not matter if they're able to do that. And that's what having a bad run defense does. The Bears pass rush issue was real. Like I said, it's a real thing. I'm not here to say that a better run defense eliminates the need for a better pass rush. That's not what I'm saying. But I think when you look at when opposing teams were forced into obvious passing downs, that's real. That it's clear there. But the easiest way to help a shaky pass rush it's not always adding another pass rusher. Sometimes it's forcing offense into situations where your rushers can actually tee off on their ass, right? And I think Chicago Bears' 2025 problem was that teams were able to stay extremely balanced against the Bears. They were able to avoid desperations and use play action to keep the defensive line from attacking them. That's what a better run defense does for this Bears team. 2, the interior defensive line was the bigger weakness for the Chicago Bears. The edges aren't the hugest weakness. But again, the interior defensive line was weak, right? You have at least one proven edge in Montez Sweat, right? And I think when you look at the current roster of Montez Sweat, Dayo Odeyingbo, Austin Booker, Daniel Hardy, Shamar Turner is going to be listed as a defensive edge as well. Like, again, with Austin Booker and what he showed last year, there's enough to believe that he's probably on pace for an 8.5, 9 sack season, if not double-digit sacks as well. But if you look on the inside, we were much more shakier on the inside, the interior of the defensive line. The current defensive tackle group of Gervon Dexter, Grady Jarrett, Neville Gallimore, Contavious Street, James Lynch, Jordan Vandenberg, the issue isn't bodies. We have enough bodies there, but it's high uncertainty. We do not have the certainty of that as well. I think when you look up and how it was bluntly, shout out to Windy City Gridiron, who bluntly said this: the Bears have had outside run stopping help with Sweat, but when asking who was above average at the defensive tackle, the answer was none, right? Gervon Dexter, perfectly, he's entering a contract year, perfectly serviceable starting defensive tackle. But is he above average? No, he's right at average, right? You look at Grady Jarrett, he needs a bounce back season. We're going to get to more to that, right? That's the heart of the issue right now. We have no upper echelon talent at the defensive tackle. The number three part of why the run game is the run defense is a huge problem for the Bears is that we didn't really fix we didn't use any premium assets to fix the defensive front. Now that's as a whole, right? Of course, we signed Kobe Bryant, we drafted Dylan Thieneman. That's going to help tons in the secondary. Look we drafted Keyshawn Elliott. We got Devin Bush in here. That's going to help in the linebacking crew, but we did not really bring in a lot of help on the interior of that defensive line. But here's where we're going to get more in depth. We're going to look at 3 reasons why the Bears are going to improve or could improve as a run-stopping team, and 3 reasons why there's still a huge sign for concern. Number 1, as far as ways that they can improve. We have better depth and we have more size, right, which is going to help. We added Neville Gallimore, who's 6'2", 307 pounds. We added rookie Jordan Vandenberg, who's 6'3" at 310 pounds. And we still have Gervon Dexter at 6'6", and he's 326 pounds. We get more on why Gervon Dexter needs to be better as a run stopper this year. And why that does not in any way guarantee a dominant run defense, it does give Dennis Allen more of that playable size that he does like to have in that interior defensive line. I think that's going to be a big part of it, right? And, when you look at the Bears' defensive line and how often we got displaced last season, this is going to be something that helps go a large way into solving that for the Chicago Bears. Number 2, Grady Jarrett should be healthier. He should be a lot healthier this year. Grady Jarrett's first season with the Chicago Bears was a disappointment. There's just no way around that. He missed 3 games with a knee issue. He finished with 39 tackles, 1 tackle for a loss, 1.5 sacks, and 8 QB hits. And, reporting him heading into this 2026 season is that he's finally healthier. If Grady Jarrett can be 80 to 85% of the player that the Bears hoped he was going to be when we signed for him, that's going to tremendously help our run defensive game. And that's why Grady Jarrett has to have a bounce back year. There's just no doubt about it. When we paid Grady Jarrett, we thought that we were bringing a stabilizing veteran into that one, and it just wasn't there. Grady Jarrett was one of the headlining moves of a 2025 free agency, and it just wasn't there. We thought we were bringing in a veteran defender, that he was an exciting acquisition. He was going to help the development of Gervon Dexter and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't there. Now, when you look at what Grady Jarrett did in his 10 years in Atlanta, he was a 2-time Pro Bowler, a second-team All-Pro in 2019, and that's where the excitement came in. A 3-year, $43.5 million deal, and of course, he was turning 32 at that time, and he ended up not delivering what we needed from him at all, and that's there. Now, I do think that can change in a lot of ways in 2026. He still has 2 seasons left on his deal. We can get out of it at the end of the season if he does not live up to it. But a Grady Jarrett that bounces back this season for the Chicago Bears makes so much things easier for this Bears team to do and execute on. And if Grady Jarrett, if the health was the thing that was really holding Grady Jarrett back, luckily it seems like that's not going to be a thing for him anymore. But we need him to get to being a better, veteran and a better stabilizer. If Grady Jarrett can do that, then it helps the Bears in a lot of ways, right? I also think another thing is that the back 7 is going to be a lot more flexible. When you look at the linebacking group for the Chicago Bears, that includes TJ Edwards, Devin Bush, Keyshawn Elliott, Noah Sewell, Jack Sanborn, DeMarco Jackson, right? And the secondary that has Kobe Bryant, Dylan Thieneman, Kyler Gordon, Jalen Johnson, Malik Muhammad. I think that matters a lot because of the run defense, because, it's not only on defensive tackles. The edges, they set and contain. The linebackers, they have to fit cleanly in it. And the safeties, they have to have that tackling alley as well to be able to disrupt it as well, especially with the way that Dennis Allen likes to call defenses. I think that Kobe Bryant adds a lot of versatility to that safety position as well. And Dylan Thieneman gives them that young downhill runner, that defender that I think is going to be able to help in run support as well. If those 2 things all communicate well with that better interior line play, then the Chicago Bears should feel like a more explosive team that can stop the run game a little bit more consistently than what we have in the past. Again, I'm not expecting it to flip for us being all of a sudden one of the best run-stopping teams in football, but I do think that those are things that you can look at that why it should be able to help. But there are still big reasons for concern here. Number 1, we don't have a true difference maker at the defensive tackle position. We don't. Gervon Dexter has talent, but he is yet to be a consistent part of the run game. Matter of fact, the run defense is one of the biggest reasons he's not an above average defensive tackle. What he does in the pass rush is fine, even though it's like he has these spurts of being highly and then he kind of falls off. But if he was a more consistent run stopper, especially with the size that he has, then it would help this team a lot. Like Gervon Dexter, if he wants to make that next leap, the true leap that he needs to make is being a better run stopper. Like I said, the pass rush that he has is perfectly serviceable. If you get up to where he is in being a better run stopper, then he goes from being an average starting defensive tackle to maybe slightly above average starting defensive tackle, and that's where he gets blown up at the most. He has to be that. Grady Jarrett's 33 years old, right? And there's a concern that, the best football is behind him. Like, yeah, we can talk about him being healthier and how that can help him have a better 2026. But the fact is, the reality is, he's more likely to suffer a decline than a bounce back. That's the reality for it. And I do think that Neville Gallimore, with his size in the rotation, he helps provide more depth, but he shouldn't be looked at as a solution in that. And then you look at Vandenberg, right? He was a 6th-round rookie, and I do have high hopes for Vandenberg, and we'll see. But I don't think you can look at him for sure and say yet that he's going to be able to turn around the run defense yet. But if he does come in and does that, great. It'd be a huge mark for him. And then Loving as well. He's an undrafted rookie. We'll see if he even makes the roster, even though he has the history of being a solid run stopper as well, right? That's a lot of ifs for a team. When you have that many what ifs, it's hard to have the confidence that you're going to make the necessary step, because there's a lot of what ifs that I just threw out there. Then 2, the edge group still has fit concerns in the run stopping game. It's there. Sweat is the one edge that you trust the most. He's a consistent pass rusher and run stopper, and the way that he's able to do both sides of that is why he's so good, right? You look at Dio Ingbo. He only played 8 games before tearing his Achilles, and the motivated Dio, all that type of bullshit. Do we trust him consistently? Fuck no, right? Then you look at Austin Booker. He's shown pass rushing brilliance in flashes, right? He's shown that ability to do that, but he still has a lot to prove before he's able to hold up as a full-time edge. I think that's something that you're looking at as well. Booker needs to improve as a run defender just along with Gervon Dexter. They both need to improve as a run defender. Now, I'll say this. I trust Austin Booker to improve more than I currently trust Gervon Dexter to improve, but there's still a concern there with your edge group and the run fit concerns. So if teams can run away from Sweat, let's just say they don't run the ball towards Montez Sweat and they attack Booker or Dio Ingbo or the rotational edges, it still leaves a huge part, and that's why the linebackers and the secondary become a big part of helping us be a better run stopping team. And then number 3, we have new pieces as well that could create a little bit of a communication issue, right? Brian is new. Thieneman is a rookie. Bush is new here. Keyshawn Elliott is a rookie, right? And so while these guys can raise the ceiling over time for sure, and they raise the athletic ceiling and the speed that Dennis Allen said that he wanted to run to this defense, there's still new pieces. And as we saw last year, sometimes it takes a while for players to really get and understand all the different looks and schemes that Dennis Allen has there. Now, Dennis Allen has talked about not coaching the scheme as much, going back to fundamentals. I think that's still there, right? And I think when you look at it like a bad angle, a linebacker overrun, an edge, losing the closeout and stuff like that, a 4-yard run, as we've seen with the Chicago Bears, can turn into a 25-yard run very quick, and then that becomes demoralizing for your defense, right? And so I think that the explosive runs that the Bears gave up last season is a huge and major issue that you're still looking at coming into this one. But let's look at the players that have the most responsibility in helping to fix the situation that Chicago Bears find themselves in. Number 1, Gervon Dexter. And I'm putting him at the top of the list because, listen, if Gervon Dexter becomes a better run defender, it solves so much for the Chicago Bears because he has the size, he has the strength, he has the speed, he has these type of things. So Gervon Dexter that becomes more consistent in run stopping, it goes a long way to fixing and solving what the Chicago Bears have been ailing in that run stopping defense for a long time. He has a real path to development and to improve. Again, when you look at his skill set, you look at that and say, hey, this is somebody that should be better in run. He's a smart football player. He does all of that. So, that's the thing with Gervon. Like I said earlier, I think that he's a perfectly serviceable pass rusher. That's what he has. At the defensive tackle position, he brings a lot of that. Defensive tackles don't typically get the 8-9 sacks, right? But he gets consistently 6, 7, 5, 6, 7. And I think that's really good for him. 6, 7. I think that's really good for him. But if he becomes more consistent in the run stopping, it takes this Bears defense even further. Next up, Grady Jarrett. Grady Jarrett, he needs to be healthier, he needs to be smarter, and he needs to be a more steadier version of himself. He doesn't need to be what he was when he was an all-pro. He doesn't need to be that. But he does need to be a stabilizing veteran that at least raises the floor of the Chicago Bears. You look at the young players to raise the ceiling. We need Gervon Dexter to be a floor setter. He was not that last year. He was a basement setter, not a floor setter. We need Gervon Dexter to be more of a floor setter for this team. He doesn't have to be elite, but he does have to win enough in early down situations that we're not forced into 3rd and short situations, and we can put more pressure on opposing pass offenses, right? Neville Gallimore as well. He needs to be more than just a body. He needs to be a guy that comes in there and actually shifts things when he plays on that defensive line. If that happens, then there's there for him, right? Quality rotational snaps from Neville Gallimore. That's what we need here. It helps get Grady Jarrett. It helps keep Gervon Dexter fresher. It helps all those type of things when you have that better depth. And I do think the biggest thing that we have done is we have been a better depth team now at that defensive tackle position. But then you get to your edges. Montez Sweat needs to be one of the best two-way defensive linemen on the roster. That's it, right? Pass rush, run stopping. That's what he brings. His edge setting in those areas has been really important, and it's just as important as the sacks that he brings as well. So Montez is the one that you look at and you say, be what you've been in the run game. The pass rush is where, you need to stop being almost there, but the run stopping, he's been pretty consistent there. Austin Booker needs to become a stronger version of himself versus the run. If he can become a real 3-down piece for the Chicago Bears team, instead of a piece that is right now, I look at Austin Booker as a pass rush specialist. That's where he thrives at the most. If he can become more of a two-way guy like Montez Sweat is, then that goes, again, a long way in helping solve this run stopping for the Chicago Bears. Dayo Odeyingbo. Listen, I'm not going to completely eliminate Dayo from the conversations like this because he is a player. He's getting paid a lot. The Chicago Bears are going to try to play him. And, it's already been said that they're going to move him more towards the interior of the defensive line where, he's actually been a better pass rusher in the interior and a better run stopper on the outside, but we'll see what he's going to be able to bring. If he can stay healthy, the size that he has, the bigger edge that he can bring to help set that, it can help a lot for the Chicago Bears in the snaps that he does play in the edge. I think that's important. And then let's go to the linebackers. I think TJ Edwards and Devin Bush are hugely important for us to being a better run-stopping team next year. The linebackers have to clean up where the defensive line has spills at. That's just the reality of the linebackers, right? If they're late or if they're blocked too early, the run defense will stay bad and is going to stay bad very consistently for this team if they don't shore those things up. So that's where they have to improve at, and they have to improve in a very meaningful way and do that consistently. And if they do that, great, right? And then you look at Kobe Bryant and Dylan Thieneman. They're tackling the angles that they can provide as well. The distance, they are the difference between it being a leaky defense and an explosive play disaster, right? Now, teams are going to leak out. It's going to happen. You're going to have running backs that leak out, that put some pressure, but it's those safeties that stop it from being truly an explosive play. And that's what these safeties have to come in at, on top of they're going to run blitz them some. They're definitely going to run blitz them some as well. And I guess in a lot of ways, too, I can put Kyler Gordon on here, too. If he's healthy, the way that Dennis Allen is going to use him in run blitzing and pass blitzing is going to be just as important in that, right? So I think when you look at it, the pass rush absolutely needs to be better as well. But the run defense is what determines whether Dennis Allen can even call the defense the way that he truly wants to. If the Bears get away from giving up the 5 yards every carry and allow more between 4 and 4.5 yards, it cuts down those explosive plays quite a bit. And you have to improve on your tackle for a loss as well. The pass rush is naturally going to look a little bit better when you do those type of things and be put in better situations. Fewer third and longs, right? Fewer pass rush chances, more play action, more stress on the secondary. That's what happens when you don't stop the run consistently. And that's what the Chicago Bears have to do. We don't need to be the 85 Bears, right? I would love that. We don't need to be the 85 Bears against the run, but we cannot be a bottom 5 run defensive team and expect to be a real threat in the NFC. We cannot do that. We have to stop that this year, and we got to be more formidable, and it starts in a lot of ways with being better run defense. I want to hear from you guys down below on how you feel about this. Do you think that the Chicago Bears can improve in a meaningful way with that run defense, or do you think it's going to be one of those things where we look at it and it's going to be another struggle of a season? But like I said, as a running back myself, and somebody who just loves defense, like I told you guys, I love when the Chicago Bears have dominant defenses. It stands out to me. Like I think that we have focused so much in our conversations on the pass rush, which, again, I want to be clear, and I'm going to say this every time. So people, but Haize, are you saying we don't have to improve it? No, that's not what I'm saying. The pass rush has to improve, but I think that even if the pass rush takes a more moderate step forward, whereas the run defense takes a larger leap forward as a run-stopping team, I think that that's going to have more of an impact on how we play day in and day out than it would be if we're some amazing pass rush team, but still give up those explosive runs. That's just my personal opinion on it, and it's one that I think is supported by data, right? We've went into it and talked about it, and the Bears just have to be better than that. And I'm sure that Dennis Allen, part in wanting to add better speed to this team, more consistently to this team, it does stand out in just being a better pass rush. So I think that's really what the Bears have to look at in this one. If we can be and make a serious step with our pass rush, and that comes down, like I said, Austin Booker and Gervon Dexter, namely. These are two guys that if they develop into better run stoppers, it goes a long way. Grady Jarrett being more, like I said, 80 to 85% of who he was in Atlanta, it goes a long way into stopping that as well. And then you look at internal development, right? The better linebacker play. Jordan Vandenberg, if he ends up bringing something for this Bears team. Like all these type of things could all come together for us to being a much better run-stopping team. And I'm not expecting us to go from the bottom 5 to the top 5, but if we can go to a top 12, top 14 run-stopping team, I think that will do a lot for the Chicago Bears and their hopes to be an actual Super Bowl contender in this upcoming season. But I want to hear from you guys down below on this one. How do you feel about the run stopping? Do you agree with me that you have to become a better run stopping team to meaningfully take that next step forward? Or are you pass rush? Let me know what you guys think on that part down below. Also, who do you think has the biggest responsibility to improve to help the Chicago Bears be a better run stopping team? Let me know that down below. Make sure you guys sound off in the comment section. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode or a live stream. You can follow us at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that is thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.